So we're going to move to like a Shavasana pose. Hopefully you all can see me. And if you can't see me, then I'll go ahead and fix that. But we're going to come onto our backs and we're just going to bring the soles of our feet to touch. Butterfly the knees open. If you'd rather extend your legs long in front of you, then that's fine too. But just finding a nice comfortable place to rest on our mat. And allow yourselves to relax those arms by your sides. And maybe even if you want, place both hands on the belly. And just take a moment to settle here into your space. It's a moment for you to just let go of any outside distractions, put those thoughts to the side, and just take a mental scan of your body here. Maybe even noticing your breathing right away on the mat. Maybe finding a focus for your practice this evening. Let's together take a couple of deep breaths in through the nose first as you fill up your belly, your lungs, breathing in through that nose. And then just sigh it out as you exhale out through the mouth. And noticing how that belly falls as you breathe out. Again, deep breath in as you inhale. Feel your belly rise. Feel your hands move with your belly as you breathe in. Send that breath out. Sigh it out as you exhale. And now let's again take another breath, but keep our lips sealed this time. Inhaling through the nose. Just slowly pressing the air out through the nose. We call this our yoga breath, our Ujjayi breath. That connects each pose to the next. That cultivates heat within the body. That allows us to find stillness within ourselves as we move. Continue with this breath throughout the class. And then we're just going to take a moment to relax those arms by your sides. And start to draw the knees in towards one another. Maybe even blink the eyes open if they were closed, or feel free to keep them closed and just hug the knees gently into your chest. Give yourselves a little squeeze. Maybe a gentle massage as you sway from side to side. We're going to start with the right leg, so extend your left leg down and just hug that right thigh in and outside the right rib cage. So you're hugging that knee in towards the body, but to the outside of the right rib cage. And then take a couple of gentle ankle rotations here, rotating that right ankle clockwise. And then maybe even rotating the direction or changing the direction of your rotation counterclockwise. Try to keep both shoulders anchored into the mat as you do this. Take one more breath here. On the exhale, we're just going to extend the right leg up towards the sky. Now, if it's too much for you to straighten that leg here as we're just warming up those hamstrings, then keep the knees slightly bent. Grab behind the right thigh or maybe towards the right knee. And then just hug your leg closer towards you. Good. And now we're going to just crawl the fingertips up a little bit higher towards the calf muscle. And we're just going to take a breath as we lift our chest and our shoulders up, crawling up a little bit higher towards the top of that leg. And then as you exhale, push that heel up further and slide the shoulders down. Notice the stretch through your hamstring. Again, feel free to keep the knee bent if you need to, and just flex the toes towards your face. That left leg is extended long and to the ground. Now from here, keep that leg as it is for a moment, and we're just going to take our left hand and we're going to let that right leg make its way over to the left side for a little gentle supine twist. You're welcome to bend the knee if you need to, if that feels better, and then maybe start to kick that leg straighter, not straight if it's not available. And then work the right hand down as you gaze towards your right fingertips, a subtle supine twist. Our first twist of the evening. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, let's very gently bring ourselves back to center. Slowly hug that right thigh in towards your chest and reset. Bring both knees into your chest. Give yourselves a little squeeze, maybe a little gentle massage of the spine as you sway from side to side. And then we're going to balance the left side of the body by doing the same sequence on the left. So extend the right leg long, and then just start by hugging that left thigh in and outside of that left rib cage. And then maybe notice a difference in this side. Draw those shoulders down. Try to tuck your chin in towards the chest to create length in the back of the neck. Deep breath in. Hug that knee a little bit tighter as you exhale. Again, now together we're just going to slowly begin to rotate that ankle from side to side, just like you did on the other side. Maybe some gentle rotations to the left, and then switch that rotation. Just little movements this evening. And now start to slowly take that left leg up towards the sky. Again, mindful of how you get there. If you need to keep that knee bent, do so. And then just hug behind the left hamstring as you hug that thigh closer towards the body. And while you do this, try to push your shoulders down into the ground, down into the mat, while pulling your thigh closer towards you. And now start to crawl those fingertips up towards the ankle. And as you do so, begin to lift and peel those shoulders, the chest, reaching up, pulling the navel in, flexing your toes towards your face. And then as you exhale, straighten that leg a little bit more if you can, and just press the shoulders down, flexing the toes, lifting and lengthening. Nice stretch through the entire backside of your left leg. When you're ready, take your right hand, let it guide your left leg over to the right side. And again, bend the knee if you need to start with. And then maybe start to keep the leg straight as you look over the left shoulder, extending the left arm like a wing, gazing over towards the left fingertips. Let's take a breath together here. Inhale and exhale. Take your time as you slowly use the strength in your core to bring you back to center. Hug that left thigh into your chest, and then reset by meeting with both knees in. Give yourselves a big hug, a squeeze. And now we're going to rock and roll 3 times, massaging the length of our spine, giving ourselves 2 to 3 rocks. And on that 3rd rock, we're just going to swing the legs behind us, come into a tabletop position. Taking a moment to just set up here. And wherever you are, if you're facing the front or the back of your mat, that's fine. Just take a couple of little sways with your hips. Maybe nod your head yes and no. Maybe create some gentle sways with the head. Mindful of your neck. And then we're going to slowly just slide those hands forward. Spread the fingertips out wide. Tuck the toes under from here. Deep breath in to look forward. On the exhale, let's slowly extend the hips up towards the sky. So your hamstrings are already open, they're warmed up. Your down dog should feel a little better here than normally when you first get into it, because we've warmed up the backside of our legs. Let's take a moment to just pedal out those feet a few times. Feel the difference in the legs. Work the heels downwards as you pedal out the feet. Keep your hands as wide as the shoulders. Keep the head and neck fully relaxed. Beautiful. And then just find this position in the body and feel the position in the body. Feel the alignment of your hands and your feet. Visualize this vertical or this upside down V shape in the body. Your hands are spread out wide. You're pressing firmly into that index finger and the thumbs. You're sliding those shoulders away from your ears to create space in your neck and your spine. And then you're working those heels down, but keeping those knees as bent as you need to. If they need to be softly bent, keep that alignment. And then just let your chest work its way towards your thighs. Take a nice full breath here. Inhale and exhale. Let's take a moment to slowly look forward. Come up high on the ball mounds of your feet or on the tips of your toes. And we're going to take a gentle little baby steps to the top of our mat, pressing into the tips of our toes. If you need to bend the knees, you do so. Coming up to the top of your mat, letting yourselves make your way into a forward fold. And once your feet meet, your hands just catch opposite elbows in a ragdoll position. Again, another stretch through those hamstrings, through the calf muscles, through the lower back. Just let those elbows and hands meet, hanging the head heavy, swaying gently from side to side. And now we're just going to release the hands back down to the mat. I'd like for you to slowly bend that left knee a lot. And as you bend that left knee a lot, start to straighten that right leg. And now take your left hand underneath your nose, and we're just going to take a gentle wide twist. So reach that right arm up. As you bend that left knee a lot, you're resting your belly on that left thigh. You're extending that right hand high. You're giving that right leg a stretch, your IT band a stretch as you extend your right fingertips up. Feel your fingertips lifting as you ground into that left hand, pulling the belly in. Take one more breath. Exhale, softly release. Bend both knees if you need to. Maybe take a couple of gentle little movements here, swaying those hips from side to side. And then we switch sides. Take a deep bend in the right knee. Feel free to rest the belly on the right thigh. Your right hand underneath your nose. Your left leg is straight as you extend that left leg hand up towards the sky. So you're working towards an open, wide twist. Your left fingertips reaching up as that right palm presses down. Your navel is pulled in towards the spine. Your left shoulder pulled away from the ear. Take one more breath here. Exhale, very gently release your hands back down. Good. From here, we're just going to slowly come up halfway on the inhale, tabletop position. So those hands can come to the shins for support, or just let your palms dangle in front of you. Pull those shoulders back. Visualize your spine as a tabletop. As you exhale, let's fold, wrapping the hands around the calf muscles or ankles if that's available, feeling yourselves pulling towards your legs, your forehead pulling towards those shins. Good. Now from here, take a moment to press down into both feet. Soften the knees. Hands come to the hips. With a flat back, you come up with slowly halfway, and then maintain that flat back as you rise all the way up to a stand. Taking your time to rise. Good. Start to walk your toes towards each other, just leaving a sliver of space between your heels. And let's take a moment to just relax those hands by your sides. Pull the shoulders back. And now interlace the fingers behind your lower back. Take a deep breath here as you stretch out the shoulders, pulling the shoulders down. Your hands are just softly clasped behind you. Your chest is lifted as you ground into the feet, pushing those hips slightly forward. Lift your gaze. And then exhale, relax your arms by your sides. We're going to take 2 sun salutations to warm up the body. So walk up to the top of your mat if you're not already there. On the inhale, sweep your arms up towards the sky. Let your palms meet together. Feel strong and supported here. As you exhale, open up those arms out like wings. Soften the knees and slowly fold forward. Come up halfway, lift as you inhale, shoulders back, lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, let's plant the palms, and we're just gently going to step the left foot back, dropping the left knee down, bringing the right knee above the right ankle, and sweeping the arms up for a modified lunge. Take a full breath here, lengthen. As you exhale, release your hands to the mat. Let's step back to our first plank pose of the practice. So your hands are underneath the shoulders, your feet are in line with the hips. Your hips and shoulders are in line. Look forward, take a deep breath here. I'd like for you to slowly drop the knees down, untuck the toes, and let's lower to the belly, slow and with control, that your chest and your hips come down at the same time. Straighten the legs behind you, baby cobra as you breathe in. Maybe even lift or hover those hands off your mat. Keep the feet grounded, tops of the feet down. Exhale, press into the mat. Roll on over your knees. Tuck the toes under, back into your downward facing dog. And we'll take 2 breaths in down dog. Let the head relax. Align your body once again in your down dog. Inhale through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. Again, full breath in. On the exhale, let's look forward. Option here to take a little hop, so go ahead and bend the knees, look forward, maybe just a baby hop or step to the top of your mat. Wherever you are, come up to the top of the mat. Halfway lift as you inhale, tabletop. Fold forward on the exhale. Let's rise up together, arms out like wings, reach up. Let the palms meet at the top and pause for a moment in this mountain variation. As you exhale, swan dive your arms out like wings once again, folding forward. The inhale brings you back to that halfway lift, shoulders back. As you exhale, let's plant the palms. This time the right leg steps back, drop the right knee down, and one breath, rise up to that modified high lunge. Arms come up, deep breath in, look up at the fingertips. As you exhale, release your hands to the mat. Second plank pose as you step back with control. So again, feel those hands underneath the shoulders, feet hips width distance apart. Look forward, let's drop the knees again, untuck the toes, and again, halfway this time lower, not to the belly, but just halfway, pause. Bring your chest forward as you breathe in, shoulders back, chest is forward, lifting the gaze to the front. And as you exhale, roll over the toes back into your downward facing dog. Deep breath here together. Inhale and exhale. Again, full breath in, slow breath out. And let's move into Sun Salutation B, our standing sequence. Take your right leg up towards the sky. We're going to go ahead and bend that right knee. Open up that right hip. Keep that left heel grounded. Try to square your shoulders to the top of your mat. You'll notice your shoulders want to open as you open the hip, but try to keep the upper body square, just the lower body opens. On the exhale, that tiger pose, bringing that thigh into our chest. We're just activating the core here. Pull the navel in towards the spine. Hug that thigh into your chest. Push the hands down. Good. Re-extend. Inhale. Lift the leg. On the exhale, slowly, with control, step between the hands and come into a low lunge. I'm going to switch sides so you can see. With your right knee above the right ankle, I'd like for you to spin your back foot flat. And you want to have an alignment where your heels are kind of in one line. And now from here, we're going to slowly bring ourselves up, bringing our hands to our hips. We call this Warrior One stance. Now, if you need to widen that front foot, please do so because you want to feel stable in the pose. You want that right hip to pull back and that left hip to push slightly forward. Then you want to soften into that front leg. Finally, you want to extend those arms up nice and high and feel stability in this strong warrior pose. Using the strength in your inner thighs and your core to support you. Take a deep breath here, inhale. On the exhale, we're going to move into a new pose. This is called Humble Warrior. Interlace those hands behind your lower back. Now your hands are clasped together, and as you breathe in, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you together and lift your gaze. A little heart opener here. Lift your gaze up towards the sky, sink a little bit lower. Take a full breath here. On the exhale, we're going to start to hinge forward. This is our Humble Warrior. We're hinging forward at the hip, moving with control, pulling the belly in. Our focus is allowing the torso to come downwards in line with that right thigh. Maybe your belly is resting on that right thigh. Maybe you're getting your upper body to the inside of that right thigh. Wherever you are, just keep those hands together. Let the head relax. Working those palms up and forward as you hinge, stopping when you get to that point that you can no longer hinge forward. Press down into the feet. A strong pose here. Stay with me for just 3. Keep your belly engaged as you pull the shoulders away from the ears. Hinge forward for just 2. Listen carefully. In 1, slowly release the grip of your hands and release your hands to the mat. Nice work. Drop the back knee down and take a moment to just pause in a runner's lunge stance. We're going to walk that right foot to the outside edge of our mat, so I'll face you so you can see. You just want to find comfort as you slide the left hip down. And we're just pressing those hands into the mat, untucking the toes. Maybe if you want a deeper stretch, you're going down to the forearms. Again, this is optional. It's just dependent on how open your hips are. And if not, then maybe your hands are just pressed on the mat, letting your head relax. I like to press into the knife edge of that right foot to really allow that right hip to open even more. So again, just option here. Wherever you are, let the head relax. Breathe through any moments of discomfort here because we're only here for 4 more breaths. Check in with yourself. Slowing down that heart rate. Taking our time here in this runner's lunge to embrace the stretch. Final breath in our runners. We're going to slowly start by just crawling back onto the hands if you're not already there. And then bringing that right foot back to the mat. And you're walking into the center of your mat now. Good. And now from here, I'd like for you to tuck your left toes under. And we're going to come up into that modified lunge, bringing our arms up towards the sky. Bring your palms together to your heart center. Moving into our first deep twist. Take an inhale together. On the exhale, take your left elbow, and I'd like for you to hook it to the outside of that right thigh. Good. So your left elbow comes to the outside of that right thigh. Now, check in, make sure the right knee is above the right ankle. And then check in with your hands. You want your palms to be really pressing away from each other. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Find a gaze either to the side or maybe upwards. Option 2, take a balance. You can tuck the left toes and lift your left kneecap off the mat for a twisted lunge. Inner thighs are engaged. Draw that right knee in. Keep your core tight. We're here for just 3. Inhales lengthen the spine. Exhales help you twist for 2. Take 1 more breath here. Inhale. On the exhale, slowly unravel the upper body. Bring your hands to the mat. Drop the back knee down. Well done. I'd like for you to stretch out that right hip that's just worked hard by straightening the front leg. And you can untuck those back toes as you support yourselves into a half split. It's a nice counter stretch to that deep stretch we just did. So you're lengthening the spine, your back toes are untucked, and you're sitting back, pulling that left hip forward as you push the right hip back. Your front toes, I like to activate the toes so that you're really still working. So it's like an active resting pose because you're resting, but you're still working that right leg. So flex the toes towards your face. Feel them stretch through your quad, through your hamstring. Take 1 more breath together. Melt a little bit deeper into the pose as you exhale. And now let's take our time to crawl those hands back up to the top of our mat. Lift your left knee off the mat. Gonna slowly rise up to our high lunge. Good. Second, we'll transition. Hands behind your lower back. Back to where we did the interlacing of the fingers. Shoulders pull back. Moving into our balance. I'd like for you to feel strong in that right foot. Find a focus in front of you that you'll fix your gaze. We're going to move into a balancing pose with our hands together. Bound airplane pose. So I like to start by just pulsing a few times. When you're ready, take a moment to just shift the weight into that right foot and slowly begin to peel the left toes off the mat. Move with control, move slow. If you fall out, it's okay. You're working on working the torso forward, keeping those hips squared, and letting that soft bend in that right knee come back into that right side so you're not hyperextending your right leg. Your toes behind you can point down or point back, whatever feels good for you. Keep those hands clasped. Keep yourself strong and steady. We're here for just 3. Try to pull the shoulders away from your ears. Wobbling is okay. Stay with me for 2. Listen carefully in 1. We're just going to slowly rise up. Keep that left leg lifted off the mat. I'd like for you to bring that left knee up and bend it. Release the grip in your hands. So you should be in a one-legged mountain pose. If you've fallen out, that's okay. The final balance here, take your right hand to the outside of that left knee. And we're slowly going to wrap the belly over that left thigh, coming into a standing twist. Option to stay as you are, or maybe work that left hand behind you. I'm moving so you can see me, but you're reaching that left hand behind you as you twist. Right leg is strong and powerful here. We're here for just 3. Keep the core engaged for 2. In 1, unravel just the upper body. Stay with it. Extend the leg forward first. Deep breath in, arms out by your sides. Exhale, release. Nice work. Shake it out. A much deserved shake here. That right leg must be on fire, but that's okay. We're going to step up to the top of the mat if you're not already there. Take our arms up towards the sky, revisiting our sun A. Inhale together. Exhale, hinge at the hips, melt forward. Halfway lift on the inhale, shoulders back, chest is lifted. As you exhale, plant the palms and either step or jump back to a plank pose. Moving into our vinyasa. Look forward, keep the knees lifted, or if you need to modify, drop the knees and go through that chaturanga. Elbows in as you lower halfway. Upward facing dog on the breath in. So lift those thighs off your mat, chest is forward, gaze is forward. As you exhale, roll over the toes, back into your downward facing dog. Reset, take a deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale, send the breath out. Again, full breath in. Slow breath out. So we're going to do that exact same sequence, but on the left side. So take your time as you press down into the right foot. Take the left leg up to the sky and just start by bending that right knee behind you. Maybe giving it a couple of little shakes there. Opening up that hip. Now when you're ready, as you exhale, tiger pose. Bring that thigh into your chest, hug the belly in, push into the hands, press your shoulders away from each other. Inhale, re-extend nice and high. On the exhale, with control, softly step between your hands and pause. So now you'll see that the left knee is above the left ankle. If you need to manually get there, then that's fine. I'd like for you to spin that back foot flat. And then when you're ready, slowly come up high with your hands to your hips. So you might notice a difference on this side. Again, that's always okay. The body's not exactly balanced. You want to bring your hips forward. That's the focus for this pose. So if you need to widen your stance and bring that left foot in front of you, wider. Draw that right hip forward, draw the left hip back, and sit low. And then the final layer is to extend those arms high for your full warrior one. Again, remembering to pull the front ribs in so that we're not arching the spine in this pose, but we're finding neutral spine instead. Take a full breath. Oh, no problem. That's a great question. So if you're looking at, think about your mat as a clock. So your right toes are pointing up towards the 4 on the clock, okay? So they're not facing me or the camera. They're actually kind of up and thinking of the clock. So you're looking at your toes pointing up towards the 4 or the 3. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Hopefully it did. Soften back into the knees. And again, if you don't know about the position of your feet, then maybe just visualize your heels kind of in one line. Imagine you're on a tightrope and your heels are in one line, but you've taken that front heel just a little bit off that rope, so you're sitting low and you've got a wider stance. So the toes are kind of sickled in. Take those arms up high if they're not already there. Deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to start by interlacing the fingers together. Take a moment to just find the clasp behind you. Open up the chest and the heart, shoulders back. Lift your gaze, lift your heart. And then on the exhale, we start to hinge. So move slowly, hinge at the hips. And as you move slowly, you're working that torso to the inside of that left thigh. That's the goal. Working the torso down into the inside of that left thigh. Come down into that point where you can't hinge any further, and then focus on the balance. Press down into the knife edge of that right foot. Press down firmly into that front foot. Let your head relax. Your hands are together, reaching up and forward. We're here for just 3. Keep pulling the shoulders away from the ears for just 2. Listen carefully. In one, we just very gently release the grip of our hands, slowly lower the hands to the mat. Drop the right knee down and take a runner stretch so that left foot comes out and wide. And you want that left foot to come off the mat and slightly forward. So you don't want the knee in front of the ankle, you want the knee behind the ankle, protecting your knee joint. Let the hands relax, press into the knife edge of that left foot if that feels good for you. And then maybe even lower into the forearms if you're ready for a deeper stretch. If not, just allow yourselves a few moments in this runner stretch to just again embrace, feel this deep hip opening pose in the body. Maybe take a couple of little movements, swaying from side to side if that feels good. And let your head fully relax here for just a few more breaths. Noticing the difference from one side of the body to the next. Let's take one more breath in our pose together. Inhale and exhale. When you're ready to start to slowly press back into the hands if you're not already there, gently walk your foot to the center of your mat. And when you're ready, one breath, we're going to rise up to that low lunge. Good. Arms up high, preparing for the balance. Bring your hands to your heart center. Lengthen the spine first. Our twist on the other side, hook that right elbow to the outside of that left thigh. Now again, use the elbow as a little bit of leverage to get the belly over the thigh to create a deeper twist in the body, if that feels good. Your palms are pressing so much away from each other, your thumbs are kind of at the sternum, the heart center. Now if you feel good here and that left shoulder is back, maybe you want to add the balance. Tuck the right toes under and just lift that right kneecap off your mat. Focusing on the twist, each inhale lengthens. Each exhale helps you twist a little bit deeper. We're here for just 3. Keep lengthening the spine and twisting as you exhale for 2. In 1, we slowly unravel the upper part of the body. Release the hands to the mat. Drop that right knee back down if it's not already there. Half split stretch. So untuck the right toes and just sit back towards that right heel. If you have nice healthy knees, you might want to sit all the way down onto that right heel, but if it's not accessible for you, then just keep your bottom off the heel and just find a nice gradual hinge forward. You want to activate the left toes again to keep that left leg working even in this resting pose, so an active resting pose. Inhale to lengthen. Melt a little bit deeper as you exhale. Take one more breath in this pose, half splits. Fold a little deeper as you exhale. Now slowly just start to crawl the fingertips back to the top of your mat. And make our way back into a low lunge, but coming up off that right knee with your arms up towards the sky, find high lunge. Good. Take your time to get there, release the hands behind your lower back. Second and final balance of this variation. Shoulder blades squeeze behind you. Try to get the palms, the heels of the palms to touch if that's available. Shoulders back. Find your focus in front of you first. Take a couple of little pulses. And when you're ready, shift the weight into that left foot and slowly peel the right toes off the mat. This is called bound airplane pose. Remember, your toes can point down or behind you, whatever feels good. Keep that left knee bent so you have stability and support. Work that right hip down. As you balance, we're here for just 3. Remember, if you fall out, it's okay. Come back to it. Stay with me for just 2. Power into that left foot for one more breath. Now slowly inhale, rise up. Keep the hands as they are. Keep that right leg lifted off your mat and bring yourselves to a one-legged mountain pose with that right knee bent about 90 degrees, arms by your sides. Take a breath here to lengthen. Stand up nice and tall. On the exhale, your left hand comes to the outside of that right knee, and you're just finding a gentle twist. Maybe even taking that right hand behind you for the full expression. Stay strong. Power into that left foot. We're here for 3. Keep your core engaged. Draw that right knee in for 2. Unravel just the upper body. Keep the right leg lifted. Arms by your sides. Palms face forward. Kick that right leg forward for the final core stretch. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Release. Shake it out. Beautiful work, everybody. Shake it out. Take a little step to the top of your mat, a couple steps to the top of the mat, and we revisit sun salutation one last time. Arms up to the sky, deep breath in. As you exhale, open up wide, fold forward. Halfway lift on the inhale, shoulders back. Plant the palms on the exhale. Step or jump back to that plank pose. Now here, again, find your plank pose. We're going to move into vinyasa. When you're ready, look forward, drop the knees if you need to. Lower with control, chaturanga. Upward facing dog on the breath in, pausing at the top. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath here together. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Sigh it out again, full breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Go ahead and drop the knees to the mat. Give yourselves a little moment to reset. Grab some water, towel off. And then we're going to meet in child's pose. Our first child's pose of the evening. Embrace the child's pose. Notice the difference from your normal child's pose at the start of the practice to this one towards the end of our practice. As you make your way into your child's pose, just allow those fingertips to crawl as far forward as you can. Create even more space in the shoulders. Take a moment to massage the forehead from side to side. Letting go of all of the strong poses you've moved through this evening. Taking a moment to just reset the body and the mind. And to slow down that heart rate. Come back to center if you're not already there. Spread those fingertips out wide. Stretch and maybe even lift forearms off the mat in your child's pose. Take a deep breath in. Slow breath out. Keep your knees as they are. Look forward. Just going to slide the hands underneath the shoulders. But again, keep the knees wide as they are. Going to take a nice twist here. Take your right hand, reach the right hand up, press your left hand down. On the exhale, we're going to thread that right arm underneath the right shoulder, or the left shoulder. So your right shoulder comes down, your right ears to the mat, and extend that left hand forward. You have an option here. You can take your left leg and you can extend it out to the side. And you can just press that left foot down so that you're on the sole of your foot, if that feels good for you. Option 2 is to take a little twist. Reach that left hand, or rather a bind. Take that left hand behind the lower back, wrapping it maybe to the crease of the right hip. And here you've got a nice variation of child's pose, a twisted variation. Your right ear is down, opening that left shoulder. Finding your breath once again here. Nothing should feel painful, so if you're feeling any pain in any pose, that's your body telling you to pull back. Let's come back slowly. So if you're bound, just start with the arm first. Press into the left hand. Push up nice and tall into both hands. And then take your time. Bend that left knee again. And we switch sides. So we're going to start by this time pressing the right hand underneath the right shoulder, and then just opening up that left arm up like a wing. This is creating space right away in the shoulder before you twist. And then as you exhale, thread that right arm underneath your right, that left arm underneath your right shoulder. So drop the left shoulder down, the left ear down, and then start in little layers. Extend that right arm forward first. Maybe this is good. This feels great for you, that's good. If you want to extend the right leg out, go ahead and do so. Remember, you're pushing into the sole of the right foot, so you'll be getting a nice deep stretch to that right IT band and the hamstring at the same time. Maybe even find a bind. Take your right hand behind the lower back, bringing it to the crease of the left hip. Always options. Choose the layer that works best for you. Couple of breaths here. When you're ready, take your time, starting with the right hand. If you're bound, you unbind first. Press the right hand down into the mat. Use it to prop you up. When you're ready, take your left hand and bend that right knee back to where you started. And we're going to move together into our final plank pose of the practice. And I'm just going to make you hold it for a little bit so we can do a little bit of core work here. So in your plank, your hands are underneath your shoulders, your hips are in line with your shoulders. We're going to take a moment to just hold this plank. Take your right toes, press down into the mat, and just lift your left heel up. And we're going to pulse it 3, pulse it 2, pulse it 1, release the left toes down. We're going to do the same on the other side. Pull the belly in, right toes hover. We're going to pulse that heel up 1. Keep the core engaged. We're pulsing for 2, and we're pulsing for 3. Come back to plank pose. Look forward, deep breath in. Slow count of 5 to lower all the way to the belly. 4, 3, 2, and 1 to the belly. Nice work. Untuck the toes so you're up on the tops of your feet. Bring your arms by your sides, and just rest your right ear to the mat for a moment. Gonna prepare for 2 spine strengtheners before we surrender. So I'd like for you to start with this, a gentle start to the spine strengtheners is a cobra pose. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders when you're ready. Your feet should be about hips width distance apart still. The tops of the feet are down. You're going to look forward. Take a deep breath here. Inhale and slowly peel your chest and your shoulders off the mat. Keep the feet down. Press into the tops of your feet. Maybe even hover those hands as you squeeze those elbows in towards your side body. A nice gentle spine strengthener here for just 3. Keep squeezing those elbows in as you lift your chest for 2. In 1, very gently release. Left ear to the mat, arms by your sides, reset. Slow breath in and out through the nose. Maybe even take a moment to just sway your heels from side to side, re-neutralizing the spine. Preparing for 1 final spine strengthener here. You're going to take a moment to gaze back down towards the top of the mat. Your feet now are zipped together behind you. If that feels good, if you'd like a little bit of a gap between the feet, that's fine. I'd like for you to work your hands together. So we've done a lot of shoulder work as well this evening. This is the final little push. Interlace the fingers together. I'd like for you to exhale everything out from the body first. We're moving into bound locust pose, and we're starting with the upper body. On the inhale, squeeze your hands together, keep the feet down, lift just the chest. And now start to peel the toes, the feet, the ankles, the calves, lifting your feet and your hands are pulling back. This is your bound locust pose. You're pulling those hands back towards the feet as you lift your chest for just 3. Good, try to keep those legs straight. If you can, point the toes back for 2. Take 1 more breath, lift your highest, inhale. Exhale, release back down. Arms by your side, right ear once again to the mat. And let's this time bend the knees behind us and just windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Re-neutralizing that spine. And when you're ready, just take a moment to release the legs back down. Bring your hands underneath your chest, and we're just going to push ourselves back up onto the knees. Swing our legs over to the sides, and we're just gonna come onto the sit bones. Taking our time as we extend those arms in front of us, palms face up. And we're just gonna slowly reverse sit up all the way down to the mat, using the strength in our core, pulling the navel down and in towards the spine as we lower all the way down. And once you've made your way to the mat, back to where we started, a full circle, hug those knees into your chest. Give yourselves a little bit of gratitude here. Hugging your body for the movements that it allowed you to move through this evening. And now I'd like for you to slowly take your time as you relax the shoulders down. Take your arms by your sides, kick both legs up towards the sky. And now from here, flex the toes towards your face. Your heels have a little imaginary chalk between the heels. With your arms by your sides, you're drawing a line through the air with that imaginary chalk between your heels. A controlled line as you lower those heels towards the ground. Maybe even visualizing this imaginary line as you work the heels slowly down towards the mat. Feeling your core work as you lower your heels down. And now once your heels relax to the mat, slide your shoulders down away from the ears. Create space in the body, as much space as you desire here on your mat. Let your heels fall in as your toes fall out. Turn those palms to face up as a gesture of gratitude, of receiving the benefits of your practice this evening. And I give you one final controlled breath here. Take a deep inhalation through the nose. Squeeze and clench your fists together as you breathe in. Holding the breath at the top. Release the grip as you exhale everything out. And now let your natural breath take over. As you surrender here for your final minute of stillness. The most important pose of the entire sequence, your Shavasana. Detach from everything you've done and surrender to the stillness. You're welcome to stay in your final Shavasana for as long as you'd like or come back to it. We're slowly going to start to just deepen that breath, just like we did at the start of the class, noticing the rise and fall of the breath. And as you take these deep breaths, start to reawaken your toes and your fingers, creating some little movements in the ankles and the wrists. And take another deep breath here to guide your arms up above your head, extending from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers. And as you exhale, hug both knees into your chest and make your way over to that right side or the left side, whatever feels good. Coming into a supported side position. And then very gently use either your left or your right hand to prop you up to a comfortable seated, easy pose, Sukhasana. And we just bring our hands to our knees and we just shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and then slide the shoulders back. Bring your palms to your heart center to seal our practice together. As always, in gratitude, first thank yourselves for stepping onto your mat, and we thank each other for being here together and sharing our practice with one another. In gratitude and peace always, namaste. Wonderful work, everybody. Hopefully you're feeling lovely and stretched out from that flow.